Hello and welcome to 20 Lore Pro. I'm one of your announcers today, SirAshtown, and we're here joined at Charlie's Collectible Show here for their Lorcana 10K. Today is day 2 with the top 8. We're really excited to be here and to show you the best in competitive Lorcana. Thank y'all for joining us. We're also going to be streaming a 2K after today's top 8, so stick around to make sure that you see the latest in the 2K. If you look at the tables here in just a moment, we have some excellent artwork from Diamond Ink Apparel for Charlie's Collectible Show. That's exclusive for the top 8. We also have, or top 4, I'm sorry, and we also have promos for the top 4 players, a Tiana's Palace. So very excited to see that and for y'all to enjoy the latest in competitive Lorcana.
All right, so we're going to get started with our first match of top 8. No, I'm not on Ruby Amethyst versus MickeyChin on the Emerald Steel Bucky Diablo list. No, I'm not. Being the 4th seed, being the higher seed, will get to choose to be on the play. And he's talked to him a little bit before we got started today. He's hoping that will be enough edge in this, what he considers to be a bad matchup for Ruby Amethyst. And that tends to ring true for most Ruby Amethyst experts that I've spoken to over the weekend. Is they are pretty much happy to play against any deck in the format except Emerald Steel Bucky. So I don't know. I think he can do all right against it. If there's not a turn 2 Bucky, I feel like the turn 2 Bucky is really what swings the matchup. Diablo is obviously a problem, but there's more answers to the Diablo. But yeah, it's just the turn 2 Bucky seems to be what really swings this matchup.
Yeah, I completely agree. Just seeing that turn 2 Bucky and all the Floodborns that they tend to just follow it up with, whether it be a Diablo, a Flynn, there's just so many that maybe we've seen the Jafar, Dreadnought be played. I mean, there's so many great Floodborns for them. We are excited to show y'all No I'm Not and MickeyChin. This was a 20 Lore Pro Discord community poll choice. We laid it up to y'all to decide who we were going to feature in today's first top 8 match. And the community chose No I'm Not versus MickeyChin. Really excited to see this. Deck lists are available over at 20lore.pro if you'd like to see those. You can find them at 20lore.pro or head on over to our Twitter and you can see those deck lists there.
And it looks like we've had a little bit of a playmat change going into the top 8 rounds. Tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here.
Yeah, we're really excited to be able to offer these exclusive playmats for our top 4 competitors today. It features the Charlie's Collectible Show in front of what would be a rendition of Tiana's Palace. As you can see on No I'm Not side of the playmat, he has the Charlie's Collectible Show logo along with the 20 Lore Pro because that's showing in today's theater. We want to thank Diamond Ink Apparel for doing the exclusive artwork for today's playmat. If you're looking for a custom playmat or artwork to be done for you, head on over to Diamond Ink Apparel. The playmat itself was printed by GFQ Underground. They're a Central Texas playmat printing company. If you'd like to do custom playmat orders or have your own theme that you'd like to have on a playmat, head on over to GFQ Underground.
And these are going home with the top 4 finishers from today, from the main event, right?
That's right. Along with a promo card that is Tiana's Palace with a 20 Lore holographic featured on the card. If you'd like to see that promo, it's posted over on the 20 Lore Pro X account or Twitter.
All right, looks like the players are almost about ready to get started here. There's a fist bump showing some good showmanship between these 2 players. No, I'm not going to lead us off with inking that Madam Mim Fox into a Chernobog's followers, passing it back over to MickeyChin. And MickeyChin going to start us off with the Robin Hood. Probably a little bit of sigh of relief on the other side of the table that it's not a turn 1 Diablo.
Talking with No I'm Not, and just the fact that being able to see all of the deck lists open like this really helps you kind of prepare for the match. He got to take a look at MickeyChin's list and really prepare last night for it.
Yeah, and these early turns of the game from the Ruby Amethyst side, just particularly in this matchup, you're looking to keep your hand as full as possible and really trying to make all of those ink drops to get to 6 and 7 to potentially allow yourself to top deck the most important cards in the matchup, being the Madame Medusa and the Be Prepared. No, I'm not. We see inking that Flynn right in front of me. That is just really not the main game plan in this matchup. You would rather continue to make those ink drops, keep your hand full. Something like Maleficent Sorceress allows you to play to the board while not going down in cards in hand. All right, so back over to No, I'm Not. We see him sing that Friends of the Other Side with that Maleficent Sorceress, just continuing that plan, keep making those ink drops, keep drawing cards. Really want to get to that critical mass of 6 and 7 ink. And decides to go with another Maleficent Sorcerer.
Something that we were talking about yesterday was how many Maleficent Sorcerers does No I'm Not play? And we have his deck list here in front of us, and it does appear that he's playing 3 Maleficent Sorcerers. Really, like we were saying when we saw Luca's list as well, has been a great choice for them so far, allowing them to draw, get cards in their hand, even against these Emerald Steel lists.
Let me see here, MickeyChin has got that Bucky and Robin Hood in play, all in the Hidden Cove, and we're going to see that Robin Hood shifted into the Champion of Sherwood. It's going to have No I'm Not discard a card for the Floodborn Bucky trigger, and then I assume that Robin Hood is going to go into that Maleficent, taking that down and then gaining 2 lore with that Champion of Sherwood's ability.
And this Hidden Cove, something that we've seen lots of Emerald players starting to put into their lists, something that just allows their Buckies to have a little bit extra power, but especially their Diablos not immediately able to get blown out from a fellow Diablo challenging into them. Using that Maleficent Sorcerer to cast Friends on the Other Side, singing it.
Yeah, and you see here, this is really where No I'm Not wants to be at this point in the game. He's potentially going to go up to 5 ink this turn, still has a full grip of cards. No worry of Diablo drawing MickeyChin extra cards. Now I did see another Bucky in MickeyChin's hand. So if he can get to 5 ink, go for a second Bucky, and maybe have a 3-drop Floodborn and start trying to double up those Bucky triggers every turn, be something that could really get him going in this game. But I mean, I see at least one Be Prepared, and No I'm Not saying possibly a Madame Medusa, and Sisu, Brawl. I mean, he's going to get to that 6 and 7 ink. I mean, he'll be on 6 just one turn away.
And that's exactly right. That's something that No I'm Not right here is really shooting for. He's already got 5 ink in play. We're going to see if he can try to get up to 7 and be able to play just anything he needs in his hand before MickeyChin is able to utilize that Bucky with his Floodborns. But here's the second Bucky with a Diablo. Lots of Bucky triggers that can happen very quickly.
Yeah, and this is what we were thinking. I mean, I saw the second Bucky in his hand, and all he needed was either Aladdin or even better, a Diablo. And now, yeah, I mean, double Bucky triggers. But I think No I'm Not's going to have enough cards even to get to this Be Prepared. But now MickeyChin could end up with an Ursula Deceiver to snipe that out of his hand, and that could be pretty devastating if NOIMNOT's not able to deal with these Buckies off the board. Now this is a third resolved Friends of the Other Side, so it's... Yeah, he's still got a full grip, and he's got at least a Brawl. If he's got a Madame Medusa, he may just fire that off on the Diablo. Yeah, he's got plethora of answers here, and yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and Brawl, taking down the Diablo.
That seems like a great choice, just preventing MickeyChin from refilling his hand too much and getting too far ahead, finding more Floodborns. Anything that NOIMNOT can do in order to protect his hand from these Buckies is going to be vital as we get up here into the 7 ink range.
Yeah, and unless MickeyChin's got that Ursula Deceiver, I don't think there's going to be any way around getting rid of that Be Prepared. Now, NOIMNOT's going to have to pitch 2 more cards here. But next turn, they'll be able to quest out. The Trinity Box Followers will be able to replace itself, putting 1 more card in the hand, and then it'll be ink number 7, Be Prepared, and MickeyChin will be left with just one lonely card left in their hand on their side. Yep, so just making that decision of what 2 cards. I mean, 2 cards is still a lot. It's a very careful decision. You're going to have to make that 7th ink drop next turn too, so you're really going to be down 3 out of that hand so far. Yeah, you just got to be really careful because you're going to be low on cards once you fire off that Be Prepared. You may still have, 2, maybe 3 tops, and depending on what MickeyChin's follow-up after that board wipe, it could mean the entire game.
Even right now, having so much ink in play on NOIMNOT's side of the board, if this ends up getting into a top deck situation based on what MickeyChin can do with these Buckies, it really seems like maybe NOIMNOT could get some draw power back in, but we'll have to see. MickeyChin going up to 4. Decides to use the Bucky to challenge Maleficent and banish it. Using that power of the Cove, that Bucky gets a little bit more stronger.
It's an interesting decision. Maybe the thought process behind that is they're tired of them singing Friends of the Other Side, but NOIMNOT's already sang 3 of those. So, I mean, it can only potentially be 1 more. But yeah, I mean, it does, it's clean trade with the Maleficent, but there's the Be Prepared. It's going to take out that Pegasus, Bucky, and Robin Hood. NOIMNOT. A couple cards still left in hand. I believe I see a Merlin Rabbit, at the very least. MickeyChin's follow-up is going to be that Jafar Dreadnought. It's going to go ahead and move that over the Cove. And then back to NOIMNOT with the Rabbit. Draw an extra card. Snake. Yeah, this is definitely not what MickeyChin wants to see. And I think I also spotted a Madame Medusa in NOIMNOT's hand. So the next relevant threat, or if he just decides he doesn't want the... Well, actually, the Madame Medusa won't be able to take out the Jafar because it's got 4 attack now due to that hidden Cove.
Saying the Storm Rage on using that Jafar. What a great follow-up play from NOIMNOT. We've talked about kind of the more optimal plays for follow-up Be Prepared, one of them being Queen, but also just being able to play a Rabbit and then bounce it in the same turn. Very relevant here in a discard match.
Yeah, so MickeyChin decides to put 2 damage on the Snake with that, let the Storm Rage on, draws a card and finds a Giant Tinkerbell, and that'll finish off the Snake. So with the Jafar Dreadnought and the Giant Tinkerbell, MickeyChin does currently have control of the board. But NOIMNOT with still got that Rabbit that he bounced back last turn, can keep fishing for answers. The Madame Medusa doesn't currently have a target. I believe I spotted a Maui as well. So the Maui potentially could come down, cleanly take out that Cove, and then MickeyChin doesn't really have a great line in trading it with either of his characters. It'd really cost him a couple of those characters, and that would be a huge loss. Decides to take out the Jafar Dreadnought instead, and I like that. I mean, the Tinkerbell would still have to trade into it and still be a nice 2-for-1. I thought maybe he might go into the Cove, just kind of unlocking Madame Medusa. But I mean, depending unless MickeyChin really wants to throw away this Tinkerbell, the Maui can just take out the Cove next turn.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation to be in here. He could choose to challenge in, or knowing that Maui has to challenge next turn, decide to either wait or try to gain some questing, knowing that it will have to trade with the Maui. Looks like MickeyChin decides to do just that, gaining up to 6 lore.
Yeah, and I don't know. That'll be interesting here too as well to see if No I'm Not wants to go into the Tinkerbell, if it wants to take out that Cove. But Madame Medusa could cleanly take out that Ursula as well. And he may really be holding on to that Madame Medusa just to have an answer for another Diablo. Is maybe something he's just more worried about. With that Ursula Deceiver of All, it's not as scary when your opponent doesn't have any cards or possible songs in their hand. Does decide to go ahead and just trade with that Tinkerbell, get that off the board. MickeyChin finding another Deceiver of All. Everybody's in the Cove. Just going to start questing away, going up to 7.
Goodness, having 2 deceivers on that Cove, they're pretty safe unless you find NOIMNOT uses a Maui, but honestly, having 2 rabbits on his side of the board, great position to start bouncing and recurring some of this draw power. Ursula Deceiver of All, less of a threat, knowing that MickeyChin here is on a top deck situation, not able to utilize that singing ability very, very well.
Yeah, no, I'm not just finding multiple rabbits, multiple bounce effects. We saw Queen's Castle as well, but we're going to go ahead and go with another Maui. And now decides to go ahead and take out the Cove. Rabbit probably just go in for 1 lore.
Now that makes that Madame Medusa a lot more viable option, knowing that he's able to utilize that questing ability with all these rabbits and snakes that he's got.
Yeah, and there's a Flynn as well, so this is going to help No I'm Not close out the game very, very quickly. MickeyChin's going to need all but a miracle here to get back into this one. Jafar Dreadnought's not going to do it, so that means that No I'm Not is going to get that 3 lore trigger from that frenemy Flynn. So that'll be 3, 4, 5, 6, potentially going all the way up to 12 this turn if everybody decides to go in. Maui's still free to go take out one of those Ursula Deceivers.
Maui doing just that, getting rid of Ursula Deceiver of All. Jafar Dreadnought, not quite big enough to finish it off. I'm sorry, it'll be exactly big enough to finish off a Maui if he decides to.
We see another rabbit, a Queen's Castle, and No I'm Not's hand decides to go with the Fox. Return that rabbit, draw another card, take out that second Ursula Deceiver of All. MickeyChin just left with a Lonely Jafar Dreadnought, no cards in hand, and nowhere near getting to 20 lore.
This Flynn really representing just so much lore gain each turn, just giving it the static ability of allowing you to have 3 as long as you have a stronger character in play than your opponent. Already putting No I'm Not up to 12.
Yeah, so it looks like No I'm Not can get to 19 this turn. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, they can get to 19 off of the Flynn Rider trigger. So if they have a goat, close it out this turn. Otherwise, we'll go 1 more round. Queen's Castle, maybe a Brawl. And does have the goat closing out game 1, going to No I'm Not. And we will shuffle up, get ready for game 2, where MickeyChin will be on the play, piloting that Emerald Steel Bucky Diablo list.
Over on our second feature match of today's top 8 coverage, Tyler Lewis was able to take the win in game 1 over his red-blue ramp opponent, Brian. Again, we want to thank these competitors today for coming out and playing here in the top 8. We're really appreciative of them allowing us to stream their coverage of their game. We want to thank our producers today in the background from Nexus. Nexus is a gaming venue located in Waco, Texas. Nexus offers esports, TCG, and dining, and is an elite gaming hangout to build your local gaming community. We want to thank Charlie's Collectible Show for hosting today's Lorcana 10K and for doing the top 8 here. Stick around afterwards because we'll be doing a Lorcana 2K coverage after today's top 8. 20 Lore Pro is also heading to Austin, Texas next Saturday, where we'll be streaming Game Castle's Lorcana 1K. If you missed any of today's rounds or are looking for the latest in competitive Lorcana, head on over to 20 Lore Pro YouTube, where we'll have all of today's and yesterday's rounds available for you to watch. I want to give a special thanks again to Diamond Ink Apparel for doing the artwork on today's playmats for top 4. Really appreciative of their hard work and diligence in creating today's mats. If you're looking for artwork for any commissions that you may have, head on over to Diamond Ink Apparel. I want to thank GFQ Underground for printing today's mats. Those beautiful mats that you see here on the screen right now, those mats are printed by GFQ Underground. If you have a custom mat that you would like, or even any of their many selection of play mats, head on over to gfqunderground.com. And we want to thank again all of the production team here at today's Lorcana tournament from 20 Lore Pro. I myself, SirAshtown, one of the announcers, along with Luxac behind the scenes doing the production, and 20 Lore Pro's founder, Stunning Rob, over there helping the feature match tables as the competitors get ready. And we want to thank Hal Brady over here from Explorcana. If you haven't seen Hal over on YouTube, head on over to Explorcana YouTube's channel and check out the latest in his Versus Challenger series.
Thank you.
It's just great to watch at this level these players, because we've seen so many of them in other Lorcana tournaments performing very well. We saw NOIMNOT so far has done great at a ton of these challenges. We've seen several others just do great. Earlier in today's tournament, or yesterday's tournament I should say, Luca, he has done several top finishes at 2Ks, 1Ks. Lots of great players here today. Anyone that you're thinking in particular, Hal, that we might see into the top 4 and possibly even winning this?
Well, I think now that NOIMNOT's up a game in there, what would be he considers a bad match, but he's definitely got a good shot. Luca, the first seed from yesterday, definitely think has a great shot. We had him on stream 2 or 3 times yesterday, and just played so tight, played very well. We had a lot of good matches on stream yesterday, and those will be up on the 20 Lore Pro YouTube channel early next week. So you'll be able to recap all of the day 1 and day 2 action.
I want to take a second to talk about some of the 1-ofs and 2-ofs, especially in MickeyChin's list, because there's several of them. How would you like to highlight some of those cards for us that we have up on the screen for y'all to see?
Yeah, so MickeyChin's got a few interesting choices in his Emerald Steel Bucky list. He's got a 1-of I Find 'Em, I Flatten 'Em as a 4-cost inkable song, banish all items. Surely looking out for that the blue-red matchup, trying to stop your opponent from drawing all those cards off of popsicles, and probably decent against the blue-steel matchup as well. Just trying to lessen the card draw off of that flavor sham. He's got 2 copies of Avalanche, which no doubt would be for the mirror match. Deal 1 damage to each opposing character, and you can also banish a chosen location, so it actually plays a dual role. You could take out some warded Buckies, clear the board of that, or you could take out a Queen's Castle, McDuck Manor. Yeah, just a really flexible kind of a main deck sideboard slot if you've ever played like other games. 1-of Under the Sea also is kind of a shocking addition. I know I've seen a decent amount of Emerald Steel lists that want to opt for something for the mirror, play 1 or 2 grab your swords, and MickeyChin does also have a couple giant Tinkerbells, but the 1-of Under the Sea, that's definitely gonna catch some people off guard if you ever get to pull that off, especially in the mirror match. All right, should be getting pretty close to started here.
Here we are in game 2 of the top 8 here with NOIMNOT versus MickeyChin. MickeyChin here being on the play, starting us off with a Robin Hood.
Let's see if he has that on the play start the turn 2 Bucky. It doesn't have the option for kind of the ultimate opening draw of the turn 1 Diablo shift with turn 2 Bucky. But yeah, I mean, I think turn 2 Bucky is just the most important card in this matchup. Most of the time it is. Sometimes Diablo is able to run away with games against some of these Sapphire decks, but in the Ruby Amethyst matchup, Diablo is powerful, but you really need to have that turn 2 Bucky to start attacking those cards out of their hand.
And here goes that turn 2 Bucky from MickeyChin. Really setting up here very nicely, maybe possibly for a turn 3 shift Robin Hood. At least another Floodborn to get on the board.
Yep, so let's see what kind of lines NOIMNOT wants to go with. See if he wants to upgrade this 2/1 Churnabox followers either into another card or maybe possibly into a Madam M Snake to where you would ink it. But he actually decides to go with the trade in Robin Hood, and I like this because that could lessen MickeyChin's chance of having a turn 3 Floodborn. Could still have one of the Steel Aladdins or that pesky Diablo, but does kind of knock out the option for a shifted Robin Hood.
I think that was a good option too. Just making sure that if they do have a Floodborn that they're going to play, they're going to utilize all the resources in order to do it. If it's a Diablo. Does have a Floodborn though here in the form of Aladdin.
Yeah, there's a decent chance MickeyChin just didn't have the shift Robin Hood, and the reason he decided to go ahead and quest with it is don't really care if it gets banished in the challenge. You didn't have the shift option anyway. You already had the Robin Hood, and then I saw the 4-drop, at the very least, Jafar Dreadnought as well. So you're still able to go turn 3, turn 4 with the Floodborn Bucky triggers.
Here goes NOIMNOT, tapping out with 3. Looks like he's playing a Friends. He's hard casting a Friends on the other side. He is able to get his hand more full of cards, hopefully not to be targeted by this Bucky too much. We'll just have to see here in just a moment.
Yeah, I'm seeing MickeyChin ink that Hidden Cove, fires off the Jafar Dreadnought. It's going to be another Bucky trigger. NOIMNOT's going to decide to pitch that the action song Be King Undisputed. And we do see a Brawl in hand at the very least, but MickeyChin's Aladdin's going to go in for 1 lore. Going to go ahead and pass it back. See what NOIMNOT's got to answer to this board. So you have Merlin Rabbit, Flynn Frenemy is going to be the ink for the turn. Go ahead and get the rabbit down. Draw an extra card. And just same kind of game plan as last game. It's really just trying to make those ink drops, keep the hand full. Really, the only cards you see NOIMNOT playing are cards that can cantrip, replace themselves, or even just draw extra cards like Friends of the Other Side. So it's been Churnabox Followers, Rabbit, and Friends of the Other Side. No other cards have been played. You just really got to get to that critical mass, 6, 7 ink. So the most important cards of the matchup, the Madame Medusa and the Be Prepared to clear out these ward characters and these Floodborns. So MickeyChin's going to go ahead and do Along Came Zeus, take out that rabbit. That's going to be sung with the Jafar Dreadnought, it looks like. And then MickeyChin's down to 1 card in hand. Maybe he just he must have just hard played it. And then, yeah, quested with both characters.
Something here as of note, as the Twitch chat's talking about, we haven't seen a Diablo this game from MickeyChin. That's hard to, when you're trying to offload your opponent's hand, when you don't have your own Diablos helping you draw. Putting NOIMNOT here in a great spot to be able to ink and play all his cards, especially with these rabbits, refilling any card that may be pitched due to Bucky.
All right, so NOIMNOT going to go with a Maleficent Sorceress, an ink a Fox. Snake is going to put that Sorceress back into hand. Up to 5 inks. We'll be in that Madame Medusa territory for next turn. I don't believe I spot a Madame Medusa or possibly even to Be Prepared in NOIMNOT's hand as of yet. If he's not able to find any of those, eventually MickeyChin may be able to run him out of cards with these Bucky triggers. There's going to be another Be King Undisputed hitting the bin. And that's the Floodborn Pegasus from set 4 coming down.
No, I'm not here being in a good spot. Up to 6 ink, able to get to 7 this turn. Having only that snake on the board, be prepared option right here would be pretty good, especially with no hands right now, I believe, in MickeyChin's hand. And we are back here in the top 8 with No I'm Not piloting Ruby Amethyst versus MickeyChin piloting Emerald Steel Bucky. From where we last left off, we see here that MickeyChin has been able to go up to 9 lore on the board. Lots of characters on his side with that Cove. No, I'm not here. It looks like he's got 7 ink available to him. Lots of characters on MickeyChin's side of the board. Here's that No, I'm Not hasn't been able to find a Be Prepared, or possibly hasn't found a good position to be able to play it. We see him drawing and inking a Sisu. Playing and bouncing a rabbit into this fox, which is a great challenger for a lot of these characters that MickeyChin has on his side of the board.
Yes, I know I'm not was able to get to that point in the game where he's got 7 ink. It looks like he may have just found the Be Prepared this turn. It's, off of that card draw. So next turn should be able to clear the board unless MickeyChin's able to find an Ursula Deceiver to snag that out of his hand. See what the draw for the turn is. And just gonna ink a Find of My Platinum. Gonna get 4 lore, 5 lore for the turn. No cards in hand, and this is all going to be set up here for the Be Prepared. Now, MickeyChin is at 14 ink this game, so he is able to actually, instead of questing, he's going to exert and challenge into that hidden cove, so to just completely clear the entire board. So No I'm Not is at 3, and MickeyChin's at 14 lore, but No I'm Not's got a full grip of cards, so it's really going to be it's just full control. There's a top deck Sudden Chill. Yeah, No I'm Not's got about 7 cards to choose from there.
And this is the exact position that No I'm Not wants to be in here, where he's got a full grip of cards, able to use and get up to 7 ink to use that Be Prepared that he's able to find off of all those drawing from the rabbits. And now MickeyChin, having played out all of his board, getting up to 14 lore, which is quite a bit. Not able to get enough, though, to put him here into a top deck position.
Yeah, I know I'm not setting up that rabbit on the Queen's Castle. It's going to help him catch up quite a bit. That'll be 3 lore a turn, and not to mention 2 cards a turn.
And we've seen many times in the past, Queen's Castle's really taken away matches. And what a great play after a Be Prepared, able to gain you some extra lore, extra draw, especially with having a rabbit there that you don't mind being challenged and banished to draw you more cards. No, I'm Not playing one of those 3 of Maleficent Sorcerers, able to draw more. Here he is with a Maui, just presenting more board presence, knows that he's completely safe to play any cards that he may have. Does, interestingly enough, decide to ink one of his Flynn Riders. That may indicate he might have another one or have better plays that he just opts to go for.
Yeah, he could have went with the option of inking something else and getting that Flynn in play to just try to start racing up to that lore count. But I think just putting 3 characters in the Queen's Castle as well is just going to ensure your victory anyway. There's no rush. You've got complete control of the board, complete control of the game here. There's no reason to risk it. You know, just draw 3 or 4 cards a turn. Ensure that you're never going to be able to get behind. Yeah, I mean, that should close it out. Probably, I wouldn't be surprised to see another Queen's Castle slam down here and just keep that lore lore race going. And okay, 2 more Queen's Castles. So that should be about all that he needs to get this one done. That is currently showing 7 lore next turn, at the very least. MickeyChin still just at 14 at Hidden Cove, no lore value, not gaining anything. Bucky able to quest once, and then that will be about it.
I really like NOIMNOT strategy here. What's better than 1 Queen's Castle? 3. 3 is the answer.
Yeah, and so I think they're discussing whether the Maui actually has to challenge into that Hidden Cove, because Maui is required to challenge every turn. So I think they've just caught that about the end of MickeyChin's turn. So seeing what the resolution is going to be on that.
We have judges available right there next to the table side. They tried to not interfere as much, only at the player's normal request or a major play mistake. But in this case, these players are talking with the judge, it looks like, on the side.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know 100% how that gets resolved. I imagine it's a fairly easy fix of just, I mean, I don't know. MickeyChin's already gone through his turn, but I mean, I imagine you could just exert the Maui and put the Hidden Cove in the bin. But yeah, we'll see how that gets resolved.
Yeah, it's interesting because it really didn't change too much of the game state by having not challenged or to have challenged it, especially at this point with 3 Queen's Castles. I wonder if the judge will just say, just continue play since both players missed the action.
Well, let's pull up Maui real quick. What's the wording on Reckless? This character can, this character can't quest and must challenge each turn if available. Okay, so it doesn't specify it does have to be character. So yeah, they're going to go ahead and just rewind slightly a little bit. The Maui will go into the location, and that will banish the Hidden Cove.
Looks like MickeyChin hadn't quite started his turn then. Must have been a call out for MickeyChin. Good catch. Sometimes it can be hard to remember that Maui can challenge locations, and if they're available, to challenge.
Yeah, so back over to NOIMNOT. He's going to gain 6 off of his triple draw of the Queen's Castle. Going to draw 1 extra card with Maui being at one of those locations. Just plenty of options. See a couple brawls, a magic broom, just 15 lore should be all but over going into his next turn.
And here is a Mana Medusa cleaning up MickeyChin's last character. Mana Medusa have been doing a lot of work, and NOIMNOT in his list only playing 3 Mana Medusas with no Lady Tremaines. Opting to use the 3 King Undisputeds that are singable, and there's a handshake for MickeyChin. Congratulations just to these 2 competitors for making it here into top 8. We want to congratulate NOIMNOT for making it into top 4. And here we are in the second feature match of today's top 8 tournament for you to view here. We have Lucas, who we saw earlier in the tournament, twice here on feature matches, piloting a Ruby Amethyst list very similar to NOIMNOT's, as well as James Gray piloting a Sapphire Steel list. Let's see where we're at here in the game state with James being up 1 game.
You know, what is it with these Ruby Amethyst players and having 3 Queen's Castles in play at once? Is this this is a trend we're seeing, and something we see on James Gray's side. He's got double Maurice's Workshop in play. That's a card we haven't seen all weekend. Maurice's Workshop is a non-inkable 3-cost item. Whenever you play another item, you may pay 1 and draw an extra card. So probably something he was looking to have in that those matchups against those discard decks. So now your Popsicles for 1 extra ink can draw 2 cards. Fishbone Quills could cycle and all that. Okay, so that's a 4th Queen's Castle on Lucas's side, and I think James was just he was fine with going and scooping it up there. I believe we're going to be going to a game 3.
Yeah, I may have to retract my statement that what's better than 3 Queen's Castles. It's actually 4.
Yeah, just need all four. Need all four to get it done. Let's take a look at some of the other card choices in James Gray's Sapphire Steel list. He's got a couple of those Magic Broom aerial cleansers, and those are nice drops on turn 2 to combat an early Diablo's aerial cleaner. And yeah, 2/3 body, quest for 1, 2 cost inkable. Nice little counter to an early shifted Diablo out of those Bucky decks. It's got 2 of the Simbas, 7 cost inkable, fighting Prince, the 5/7, the quest for 2, and he's got a lot of ability text. When you play this character, and whenever he banishes another character in a challenge during your turn, you get to choose one of the 2. You can either draw 2 cards and then choose and discard 2 cards, or you can deal 2 damage to any chosen character. It's a pretty powerful effect. 5/7, really hard to deal with. Not a lot of answers to that in the format currently. He's got a couple copies of the new Aerial Treasure Collector, the 3/4 ward, 6 cost, non-inkable, 3 lore power, unless you have more items in play than your opponent. He gets +2, so going up to 5 is a really nice ward. Just 5 lore dime target can close out games very, very quickly. I at least saw once this weekend, Aerial over the course of 2 turns gaining 15 lore for the win. It's very, very quick. Get it into play, target with a dime. Next turn, you can quest for 5, finish out the game with another dime activation. All 4 grab your swords. 2 let it goes, 4 giant Tinkerbells. Those are pretty stock these days. A couple of then along came Zeus, and the 2 Maurice's workshops is what's really standing out in this list and setting it apart. So you've got a few extra items for your flavor shams and draw extra cards, and then your fishbone quills, all of your popsicle effects. Can just, those can draw too, just for an extra ink. And interesting about this list, I don't think, let's go all the way down to the bottom here. The bottom. Let's see. No, there are no whole new worlds in James Gray's list. That's a big decision. That's a big divide in the Sapphire Steel communities, whether you should be playing a whole new world or not. And I don't have the answer. I'm a big fan of Sapphire Steel. I play the list I currently play as whole new world, but I can see an argument for both. Giving your opponent 7 new cards sometimes isn't the best idea. And also, something I'm a fan of, no one jump ahead, but instead a full set of the Detective Mickey. As I don't know about you, but I do not like my 1 jump aheads getting ripped out of my hand by the popular Ursula Deceivers out of these Emerald decks. And Mickey Mouse Detective gets around that, and that still allows you to get to that critical 4 or 5 ink on turn 4. So you can start getting your ward characters into play, the Cogsworth, and you've got the beast that breaks items. So you can set up for those 5 cost songs to sing. You got Grab Your Swords, but no whole new world. So I guess it's a little different calculation, but a couple Let It Goes and still some really powerful songs at 5 and 4. And yeah, have you tried out you gotten to play with that Simba yet? I've had it in play a couple times, and it's pretty wild.
No, I haven't had the pleasure of playing with it, but I have played against it, and when it does come down, it is a surprise to me, and it is normally game-changing. Looking at Luca's list, kind of comparing it a little bit to NOIMNOT's list, just kind of seeing the differences since they're very similar as Ruby Amethyst players. Instead of having 3, Luca has opted to have 4 Maleficent Sorcerers, liking its ability to draw and also be able to sing that Friends on the Other Side. Also having 2 Lady Tremaines, where NOIMNOT had none, able to follow that up with a play that may target 1 character left on the board after a Be Prepared. Great card to see there. Besides those cards, everything else is pretty similar to him, playing the 4 Turner Boggs Followers, the 4 Flynn Riders, of course, with the Sisu package, playing those 4 Brawls to take care of any of those Diablos that aren't protected by any hidden coves. Also playing 3 Be King Undisputeds. Really a card that we've seen a lot of this tournament. If it finds its use, it can be very game-changing. And of course, the big bad Be Prepared 4 of standard in a lot of these Ruby Amethyst lists.
Yeah, deciding to go back up to the full 4 Be Prepared, I think it was a big change for going into this weekend. I think lately we've seen, especially from the Chicago list that did well, it's cutting down to 3 and even as low as 2, a couple of the lists that I saw from that top 64 of that event. But I think going back up to the 7 to try to help your worst matchup, that Emerald Steel, is really difficult. Now the Maleficents, I'm more on the side of those now. I kind of saw how much work those were doing against those discard decks, and instead of going for that turn 2 Flynn into Sisu plan. Instead, you're just going with those 1-drops that replace themselves. Maybe put a snake, replay that 1-drop and just throwing it into the inkwell. And that turn 3 Maleficent getting on the board, but replacing itself, so you're still not down cards. You're still going up, trying to get to that 6 and 7 lore. But we are underway in game 3 of our other top 8 match. James Gray versus Luca Serrano. James on the play with the start that they're looking for. Turn 1, Fortisphere. Turn 2, Smee getting on the board early. Let's see what Luca is going to have in store for turn 2. Inking that Flynn and playing another one. Yeah, in front of me.
This Flint here really can represent a great way for Luca to get ahead very quickly, especially if you can follow it up with a turn 3 Sisu. A lot of times these Sapphire Steel decks have a hard time if they aren't playing smashes or a way to deal with that Sisu immediately.
James Gray going to go for what he's looking for on turn 3. A Fishbone Quill. Going to get an extra ink for the turn. And finish off the turn with another Fortisphere. Can find one of those Flavor Shams. Going to have plenty of food if Luca's not able to immediately answer that. Going to decide to not do anything with the Mr. Smee here. Kind of keep that on board and just kind of sits there and counters Flynn's ability so far.
Luca thinking about if he wanted to ink that goat or not. Took it back. That 4/3 can really be a strong card later on.
Yep, decides to go ahead and ink the goat, get some Maleficent Sorceress some play, draws another card. See what James Gray is going to go into here. Could potentially go all the way up to 6 ink this turn, possibly for a giant Tinkerbell. He can easily get to 5 for either one of those beasts or the Cogsworth. Cogsworth would be nice here with that Mr. Smee, allowing him to just quest away and not have to lose or take any damage. But does have the Flavor Sham. Going to eat one of those Fortispheres, draw 2 extra cards. Handful of options. Let's see how many times he wants to ink this turn. Can go up to 2. Potentially still have another play before this turn is over.
That resist 1 ability on Cogsworth so relevant, especially with Mr. Smees. If you don't have any Captain Hooks like we don't see here in James's list, really just one of the best ways to keep that Mr. Smee on the board for a long time to come.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's very overstated for the cost because it's got the detrimental effect. But when you've got ways like Popsicle and Cogsworth to, recount that, and it's just a 2-cost 3/3 that quests for 2 every turn.
Using that Maleficent Sorceress to sing friends on the other side, trying to draw more cards, get more options.
It does have the Brawl for the Flavor Sham. I think that was a very, very critical turn here for Lucas. James was able to just draw 2 extra cards with that Flavor Sham. The next couple turns would have probably been too much, considering James is already at 5 and potentially get to 7 ink this turn. Lucas is going to add 1 more card to the board, get a Chernobog's Followers. And we'll see what James has got here. It's a Grab Your Swords. It's going to take out Lucas' entire side of the board. And that seems really strong. Now, he won't get an extra card out of that Chernobog's Followers. Maybe able to start questing with that Smee here. So if he decides to go in with that or potentially hold it back, maybe doesn't want to lose it to a Maui or a Madame Mim Fox.
Yeah, what a great back and forth we're seeing here with the removal options from Luca and James. But James able to have a great position here with these 2 items, the Fishbone Quill, helping him get up in his inkwell, trying to get up as high as he can to hopefully make some plays with Lucky Dime or a Tamatoa even after getting all those locations into the Banish Zone.
Yep, so Luca's going to start off here rebuilding his side of the board with a Merlin Rabbit and draw an extra card. Going to pass it back over to James. James is going to ink, looks like a couple times here, and that is a scary amount of ink being exerted for 8. That's going to be Tamatoa, the crab, looking for something shiny. Going to get one of those Fortispheres back in hand. Luca was still a lot of options. Luca does play the full 4 Be Prepared. It's only a turn away from that. So let's see what we can do here. We've got Madame Medusa to take out that Mr. Smee. And then the Rabbit's going to sing that new action card from set 4, the Be King Undisputed. Just a clean answer to that Tamatoa. Let's see what James Gray has got here. So Lucas Serrano has now just regained the entirety of the board here, but James with so much ink can just play threat after threat as long as he's got plenty of cards in hand. Go with the giant Tinkerbell, spread a couple damage counters. And if Luca has another B King Undisputed, it'd be pretty devastating too.
I mean,
Oh, and it's Lady
oh my
Tremaine,
goodness.
which is the old way to do it. So that works just as well.
And it represents a questing power of 2. Right here in the game, only being at 2-0. What a great way for Luca to try to come here and start gaining some lore. I mean, what a great last turn from Luca, though, able to use the King Undisputed along with the Madame Medusa, cleaning up James's board. I mean, that was a very, probably pivotal turn during this match.
And James Gray going to turn 3 sideways and just play Detective Mickey and pass on the turn. Luca's got to be sighing relief over here. He's got 4 lore worth of value here. Maybe something like a Queen's Castle would be pretty backbreaking for James right now. James still with a couple cards left in hand, and we know he doesn't play that whole new world, so that's not going to be an option. What could those last 2 cards be? It could be something just to take out, but I don't know if he had just answers for Queen's Castle. He's not playing. I don't think he has any Rise of the Titans in his list. Just a couple Along Came Zeus and the 4 Baboons. Yeah, I don't know what those last 2 cards could be that he wouldn't want to play last turn. So it does look like he was saving Along Came Zeus and a Baboon combo to take out a Queen's Castle. So that he's one step ahead of us. Another Detective Mickey, but that is not going to answer the characters on Luca's side of the board. He's up to 6 lore. James still at the beginning 0. Luca's got another Lady Tremaine in hand, and then a couple other cards. Not sure what else we got. So Madam Mim's going to go into that Detective Mickey, take that down. And it looks like a Madam Mim snake, so you could decide to bounce back Rabbit, bounce back Lady Tremaine, bounce back a Medusa. Just going to take out that Mickey Mouse, go for 3 more. Luca could be closing this game out in just the next couple turns.
Yeah, Luca here really showing the power of just this package of having Madame Medusa and Lady Tremaine. We've seen the power of B King Undisputed. Luca liking having both in his deck. I think it paid off for him this time with the Lady Tremaine.
Yeah, and James just, his top decks have just been these Detective Mickeys and nothing else. Luca's going to just fire off another Lady Tremaine, goes to 14 lore, threatening game next turn. What is James going to draw here? He's mulling it over. Doesn't windmill slam it. It's probably not a good sign to see if he can figure out a way to survive at least one more turn. That 7 ink Simba can finish off of Madame Medusa, and that is still 4, 5, 6 lore on Luca's side of the board, and that's going to do it. He's going to finish up game 3, going to Lucas Serrano over James Gray. He'll be moving on to top 4.
Oh, what a great play from both of these competitors. We want to congratulate both of them for making it to top 8, but Luca as well for making it into top 4. What a great viewing we had here of competitive Lorcana from all 4 of these players. We want to thank y'all so much for joining us here at Charlie's Collectible Card Show for their Lorcana 10K. I'm one of your announcers, SirAshtown. Join with me is Hal Brady. We're going to take a quick break and see if we can't get an interview with one of these players getting into the top 4. Thank y'all for joining us.